industry needs to fight together in many ways too. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to be here. Joe Lynn said, would you come up and talk to you, because I've been around this group, and I hope we can get more people from the outside. In fact, if there's anybody outside, let's bring them in, because I'm going to talk about what's going on in tennis, but I want to also talk about what's going on with America and the world in many ways, because we have some problems that we got to face and change. If anybody's sitting here, in fact, I was talking to Mike Woody, he was telling me about a group he was sitting with that said, well, why do I have to grow the game? Why are you here? Unless you want to grow the sport. You've got to think out of the box. You've got to be thinking of new ways. You've got to be thinking of getting America more engaged with your sport and overall with physical activity. So, Joe Lynn made an introduction of who I am and what I do. This is beyond just a charity, PHIT America's a charity. It's a movement. It's really a passion. Because if we don't fix this pandemic, it's not just bad for tennis. Our country, you'll see here, is in deep trouble in many ways, but this pandemic is a huge killer, and I use the word in the direct way. It's a killer on many fronts, more than things you hear about daily. So we got to fix this overall. So I'm going to be talking here about getting America moving, healthy, and playing tennis, because the great thing about what we're doing with PHIT America now, we're not just getting kids active in our school-based programs and passing good legislation. We now have programs that go in the schools, working with the USTA and Craig and with Net Generation to make sure we get kids playing tennis too. So how bad is the inactivity pandemic, and how is it affecting you? And more importantly, how important is Play Tennis Month? Because you have something that's going to happen next month, which has to happen now actually in many ways, that can really jumpstart a lot of great things for the sport. You know why? I've done it before. We've done it before. This sport, you saw the numbers, and I'm going to show it to you again. You can turn it around. We did. John Embry was working for me how many years ago when we saw an article that came out in Sports Illustrated that said, and you haven't had this happen to you yet, an article that says, is tennis dying? Tennis ball on the head on the cover. And guess what? We all came together. Dan Santorum, is he here in the room? He was talking about working together. We all came together. Yes, USTA was involved, but it was everybody in the trenches. We went out in the communities, out in the sections, to the pros, and we got people to work together. And it's got to happen again. It's not going to happen when Kurt gives you another $1 million or $2 million. It's not going to happen that way. In fact, I'll tell you the history later on, how we got the game moving. So you can do it overall. So, first of all, PHIT America. It's a charity campaign. It's a movement overall. It's about getting America, primarily children. We work on adults, but primarily children, off the couch and on the court, if you want to get selfish overall. So we're getting it moving for the body, mind, and spirit overall. We have 5 approaches. The most important one, is actually the first one, because we focus on the inactivity pandemic. You're going to see that in a second. Why? We don't talk about healthy eating. We talk about movement and the inactivity pandemic and what it's causing a problem that's bigger problem than obesity and being overweight. You're going to say, really? And I'll talk about that later on. Our START program is our Go Grants. This is where we go into schools and where all the kids are. You think about where you learn to be physically active as a child. Parents, or when you're in school, physical education. You throw, catch, run, jump. You develop all those skill sets as a kid, or most of us here did. Guess what? A lot of kids don't have it, and you'll hear about that. That's why we go with this program. It's our START program. We are educating people. We have articles. We have a film that's coming out later this month, later this year. And then a lot of people want to talk about the PHIT Act. It's great. We're going to keep pushing it. Just so you know, if you're not familiar with the PHIT Act, it's a piece of legislation we've been working on for years. We're heavily involved with it. It will allow Americans to use pre-tax medical accounts, health savings accounts, flexible spending accounts for physical activity expenses, for preventing healthcare costs. We don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. And the only way we're going to fix it is everybody in this room get people more active, and having legislation like this to inspire people to be active. So we're working on that. Overall, it's one of our initiatives. And we have now launched for the first year ever PHIT America Month, which is called Play Tennis Month here. So we're doing this in conjunction, all to get America moving, and also to use it for some other resources I'll talk about later on. How bad? Joe didn't show you these numbers, but I want you to look at them. They're devastating. If you don't wake up and say, wow, I got to get energized to change this overall, we're all going to be in trouble. And anybody, Jerry, where are you? You're here with your son. I said, Jerry, this is not about you. It's about your son. Where is his future? Because if we don't fix these numbers, all the generations of younger people, they're not going to have an industry. I'm not talking about tennis industry. I'm talking about a sports industry. Everything you see on TV, everything. Baseball, basketball, football, tennis, soccer, volleyball. Guess what's going on with them? They're declining in participation. It's entertainment. That's not what kids are doing anymore. This is what they're doing. They're using their fingers overall. So we can change that. So here are the raw numbers. This is 81 million Americans, this is 2 years ago, that are totally inactive. Not active in 104 different activities. Actually, they've increased the number of activities. Then that's admitting in a survey, you haven't done one of those activities once in the last year. Imagine how many people lie. Now you see that number, but this is the devastating part. Look at the growth in percentages. And what happened this past year? Mr. Keith Story sitting up there, he's Mr. Research Guy. Every year he's been tracking this. So what happened this past year? Oh, we're up to 82 million Americans. Up. We're up to 27.6% of the population. This pandemic is getting worse. And when these kids grow up, who are totally sedentary, that have no skill sets, can't throw, catch, run, or jump, imagine them later on saying, I want to play tennis. They have no skills. If you don't learn to read when you're in school, you're not going to be able to read when you're later on in life. You don't learn to throw, catch, run, and jump. Imagine trying to hit a tennis ball. I don't care how good Lenny Sloss's product is. If those kids don't have those skill sets, we don't have a chance. So that's why we go into the schools. The kids are the big issue. And how bad is the problem? Devastating. This is the percentage of kids that are active 3 times a week, 6 to 12 years old. Look at the drop of physical activity, or the percentage of kids active this 3 times a week or more. How about the older kids? Same thing. The biggest drop we've ever seen in 1 year this past year. You could probably blame it here, but you know what? It's competition, so we got to figure ways of overcoming that. And that's why we go into the schools. Jolene mentioned this, but I want you to look at this, because anybody feels like, oh, my kids are in shape. There was a global study done of 50 developed countries in the world. U.S. kids ranked 47th out of 50th in the world. So we're in bad shape as a country on many fronts. And this leads into something you may not like or care about the military, but it's part of our defense. In a study that was done, 75% of all teens in America today are not fit enough to join the military. So that leaves 25% that are. How many of those 25% want to join the military? We're in bad shape as a country. We're soft. We've gotten life so easy. It's so easy to do this. So easy to take an escalator up. So easy not to have kids be active. They can be using their pacifiers. So, and this is one of the big factors, and you'll see that's why we go into schools, and I'll talk about these percentages later on. The schools that do not have physical education today. Jolene talked about this. This shift here is almost even more dramatic than those others. The shift from core to casual participants. And guess what happened this past year? Because I didn't get the numbers. Keith's been hiding them from me. Actually, he has not. But I'm going to be getting. He'll be feeding all these new numbers to me because this is devastating. And by the way, this is why. 80% of all the consumption in the industry, 80% of the people that are filling up your tennis courts or pickleball courts or whatever are core players. This past year, Keith just said to me, it's now approximately 55-45. Devastating. So if someone sits here on their butts saying, why do I have to worry about participation? It's about your future, about the country's future. It's about everybody's future. We got to think about doing things much better. So, and I talked about how deadly this is. Do you realize that more people are dying of physical inactivity than smoking nowadays? Sitting is the new smoking. Do you realize that more people are dying of physical inactivity than being overweight and obese combined? Now that's hard to believe because a lot of people see an obese person. We don't see many here, but you say unhealthy, unhealthy. But how many people are not severely overweight that get up in the morning, go to their desk, they sit. They come home at night, they sit. They do not move. And kids, they go to school, they have no physical education, they have no recess, they sit. They come home, they sit there. Those kids and those people are just as unhealthy, if not more, than the overweight people. In fact, I'd rather have somebody overweight and fit than just somebody that's obese. So I mean, it's like amazing what's going on. Healthcare costs, as I said, we don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. We will never, ever, ever control healthcare costs until we use the word prevention. And so this is why what we do is so important to the future of this country and healthcare costs. And then the final point is academic performance. I can go on and on. I got charts on this. A more physically active adult, a more physically active kid is a better student. You think about it, they took out recess, they took out physical education, they took out music and art and other things. So the sit and learn approach to education. Anybody, if you sat here for 6 hours or 5 hours like kids do, you know what you would end up doing? Nodding off. That's what's going on with these kids. And by the way, we have research that if you want to get people active, the best time to get active is early in the morning because academic performance scores go way up because the blood's flowing to the brain. And it's so much more important for people to be alive early on for the thought processes. And it's deadly for the revenues. And here are the revenues. Jolene showed them in a different format. I dug them out. You saw the numbers, you heard them. Not a good picture. So this pandemic's affecting tennis too, but I think things within tennis are affecting tennis as well. Core. And I also put a little number up here. I dug into U.S. Open revenues. Craig's still here? He doesn't run the U.S. Open. Yeah, hey Craig, you can take this back to your buddies that run the U.S. Open. And the USTA board. Hey, look at that growth. And what's the mission of the USTA? You know what's going to happen? Dan and I were talking about this also earlier on. We grew the sport of tennis when we had 3 people on the board that were from the industry. This group should have a session. Jolene, where the hell are you? We should have a session about how do we get industry people on the USTA board. Because those funds need to be redirected into programs to get people active. Yeah, it's good to keep the US Open going, it's the cash cow, but the US Open's growing and everybody's living there in that suite, feeling good, and we go there one day a year, we feel good. But look at the business, it stinks. And you gotta have people on the board and you can do it. And by the way, we had Alan Schwartz, Kurt Caperman, and myself on the board. We made things happen. And you should really think about how you get that movement started, because that's the only way the USTA will start to rethink some of their. Craig's happy, he's probably a little bit of a political animal already by being over here. I say that jokingly overall, but you know what? He needs more resources too. All of us need resources. And then trying to do the same thing with your key sections. That's the way you're going to change behavior. So the numbers there speak for themselves. Now let's talk about Play Tennis Month. Why this is important. This is vital. How many people here have signed up for Play Tennis Month as a facility? How many facilities are here totally? Let me see how many facility operators are here. How many have not signed up for Play Tennis Month? Well, where's Mike May?
Right here.
Stand up. Gretchen, where are you? You here? Where's Gretchen? She's supposed to be our person. Mike May, right outside this door at 2:30 at the break, and all throughout this conference, we need everybody here, manufacturers as far as, and also facility operators and pros, to sign up and be part of this. This thing has got a lot of great things. See Mike, he works with PHIT America, he's helping out Joe Lynn in the conference here. But sign up, it's so easy to be involved with this. So, what does it do? It's going to jumpstart physical activity and healthy lifestyles. Jumpstart participation overall. Jumpstart positive energy. And expand youth and tennis programming overall. So, just so you're aware of it, you have Play Tennis Month. It's part of a bigger program. I represent all sports and activities. PHIT America Month has got all these different sports, but we also got a tab here you can see how you're focused on, and I'm going to push people there when PR events, etc., into go look at tennis. They have lots of facilities offering programs to get active in the month of May. So let's take a look at participation. Why is this the case? You see the numbers, they're not good. It's a national campaign. You have an opportunity now to work together like we did some 15 years ago. Everybody met with the USPTA board. Dan and I have talked overall, and PTR's on board. But all the pros, everybody has to get on board with this. It's 30 days. Put some energy behind it. Market to your contacts and others. It can't be just send out a nice little, Jolene, you're going to see here, has put together some phenomenal tools overall, but also contact local newspapers, do social media, get it out there. We got to outreach. If you want to protect tennis or pop tennis or whatever you're promoting in that month, go ahead and get it out here. The TIA has done a phenomenal job. Jolene showed you these, but I want you to look at this again. First of all, everybody can sign up today, right now, at rallytheindustry.org. If you don't write that down, then this session's really a joke, in my opinion. You got to go there and register. But the great thing is she's got all these tools for you to use to send out, to communicate about this event. So the tools are there, the programs are there, you can leverage, and if there's USTA people or volunteers, find out those local facilities in the areas, help them out. Make this event overall bigger for everybody. Now, what else? Cardio tennis. I hear everybody talking about it. Let me see. I have a little invested interest in this, but this is no clutter as my past. This is what America's looking for. The top 10 growth activities in America. I'm talking about all the fitness activities, all the team sports. The top 10 are all fitness related. That's what America's looking for. What does cardio tennis kind of sound like? Fitness? And by the way, the #1 growth percentage activity past year over all those activities was cardio tennis. #1 growth activity. So the potential's there. You usually got to run with it. It also got great potentials for millennials that don't want to be tied up with, I got to book a court and find partners and all that stuff. Get involved with this. It's fun. It's music. It's new. And it's up to you. Greg, he's the only one here from the USTA with a big pocket, so I'll say, don't rely on him. As I said years ago, you know how it happened? The leaders of Wilson, Prince, Head, Babylon was much smaller at that stage, Penn, Vocal, we all got together and we gave a percentage of sales. We invested in the game. We went to the USPTA, we went to the PTR, we went to facilities out there. We did town hall meetings. And guess what we did next? Then we went to the USTA board and said, this is what we're doing. It wasn't the reverse. Everybody sits back and says, they got the money, we got to get them to do something. Bullshit, to be honest. I hate to be blunt here because I've been hearing this for years. We grew the sport from 24 million to 30 million players by doing it in the trenches, working together. And I talk about competitors working together. You have facilities that will work. You take Jerry's facility, who's your local competitor? Promote it together. It's all about growing the pie here. Because you can sit there and consolidate, worry about my market share, and guess what happens? You got a smaller and smaller pie overall. And it costs nothing to be involved. Nothing. Now, you can make PHIT America part of the charity you're supporting here, but you don't have to do anything other than make it happen with the resources we have. And doing things differently. You heard some talk about pop tennis and pickleball and everything else. I also did a study looking at, with Keith's research, the 30 traditional sports or activities that have been around for 10 years. 28 of 30 have declined. If I had the same racket at Wilson for 10 straight years, think I'd be in business? Some people are still teaching and presenting tennis the same way. You got to think outside the box. America's looking for things new that are new. You got to be thinking for things new here overall. So, what about energy? This is a tough one for people. Maybe they don't like me saying this, but I'm going to say it. I went to a conference, a big one, in the last 8 months. I saw a bunch of tired people. No energy at all. I also see people that almost like, what are we going to do? What's happening? I'm hopeless. Versus optimistic. You got to get out of this. This is, again, not about somebody making it happen for you. It's got to be you doing this overall. And you can do it. It's been done before. I talked about it and how we did it in groups, the sport from 24 to 30 million. Everybody in this room working together overall. And I use this as every presentation, but I think it's so appropriate here. 3 types of people in this world. People that make it happen, the people that watch it happen, and the people that, I wonder what happened. And this is what a lot of people are saying about what happened to tennis. You want to be part of that story, you're going to make it happen. And again, it's not that man back there, it's you. Everybody here can make a difference and change behavior. You have to be thinking out of the box. I'm doing good. I got 9:45 left. Expanding youth programs. This is why this works so well. PHIT America is your charity, official charity list. You don't have to support us, but I want you to know, you see a little bit about what we're doing overall. We hoping you can support us. I've been around this industry for many years. I started this 5 years ago with Mike May, and we only got a couple people that are working with us. Basically, we scratched and we put all of our funding into programs to get America and our kids active overall. Can you add a small fee? Can you ask participants to donate or give us contact lists overall, a percentage of sales? Now you're saying, this is uptight. These customers don't want to give anything. They don't want to be. I happen to look up in the research because I've done consulting work a lot actually in the golf industry. Now, they got their own problems, but one thing they're good at is PR and working with charities. They're really good. Did you see the event that was at the Masters where they got all these kids? Such a good feel good, and they're out there, we're growing the game. They got a bunch of kids that are real serious, they're out there, that's great, but it's not really growth at the grassroots level the way it's got to happen. But where I'm going with this, golf per year for the last 3 years has been averaging $3.9 billion of charity work each year. $3.9 billion. How many charity events do you hear about from this industry? Not a whole lot. So give it to a charity that's doing something for you. It's got some benefits because you can talk about it. People like to be involved with philanthropic work. Guess what in golf? They did 143,000 events last year, and their average taken for the charities was $26,400 per event. So it can be done here. Hey, I'm not looking at for this group. I'm just looking for any effort overall to give back, and when you see what we're doing, it's going to come back and help grow the game too. And proceeds are going to go here. You'll see this in a second. So what do? You heard about this quickly with Joe Lynn. Our #1 program is called our Go Grants. So money that we receive, we put into Go Grants. Improving kids' health through physical activity and tennis. More specifically, we provide funding directly to elementary schools. We go to the roots of physical activity in America. If we don't rebuild these programs, we'll never fix it. And you saw the numbers for high schools, but the average budget for all schools in America is $764. The average budget for elementary schools, where we focus, $460 for the entire school, not per kid. 460. That's what's going on with schools in America. It's a crime overall what's happening. Because why? 2001, they passed No Child Left Behind. And guess what? All the administrators said, we're going to focus on reading and math. And that's where I get rated. Physical education, recess, music, art, thrown out. Kids sit all day, and they're not even testing better. The sit and learn approach has failed us overall. More importantly, we have the research. Keith's been doing this for years. Kids that are in a physical education program of any type are 2 to 3 times more likely to be playing tennis outside of school. So it builds tennis players. We give grants of $1,000 to $5,000 for sustainable programs. They're one-time grants. We've already helped 375 schools, 200,000 kids. It's a drop in the bucket, but we're making great progress. And we're doing it for less than $10 a child. Somebody asked me at lunch, well, what is one of your major strengths? We've gotten this so fine-tuned, we get kids off the couch and on the court for $10 per child. Think about what it costs to get people moving. That's very inexpensive because we go where the kids are. And here's the fabulous news for this group. When we receive funds, we're going to put it right into school programs that have a tennis curriculum working with the USTA and Net Generation. So we worked out all that out, the logistics overall. We give grants. that will result in more schools, more kids getting moving, USDA generation curricula, rackets, everything it's going to them. So they get a physical activity program, and they get this program, and they have an after-school program. So supporting us. We were just talking last night with a great couple from Little Rock, Arkansas about a fitness club actually taking care of a whole school. So we get a school active and fitness activities, have a tennis curricula, and it's a great PR opportunity. So everybody can be involved with this overall. So that's the tennis curriculum. So we're getting kids moving in tennis. So what can you do in this group here to help? First of all, realize it's all up to you. It's not up to the big honchos that live up in White Plains and go to those board meetings and sit in the president's box. It's not them. If you have events in May, make them part of Play Tennis Month. RallyTheIndustry.org. Get signed up now. Start new events for new and existing players overall. Promote Play Tennis Month with all the tools available. You saw them earlier on. They're all on Play Tennis or on RallyTheIndustry.org. Facilities, fun programs, music, make it a festival. Get people engaged overall. Manufacturers, good news here. I've already had 3 manufacturers here that say they're going to support PHIT America and be involved with this, hopefully becoming a charity, but also sending out emails to their contacts to get their contacts to support PHIT America as a charity too. Because those funds, again, are going to go back and rebuild tents. Make sure all facilities have a great event, bigger and better, all volunteers, everybody is in this room, and round up, build up sales, whether it's coming from the consumer or you can all do this in the month of May or any month of the year. And use the fundraising tools. And I brought this up earlier on. This is very important where you go. Because one thing I want to do is have everybody in this room be part of this. So here's the fundraising website for us. If you go here, it's all going, you see it's got a tennis image. It's about getting a kid. Give $10, get 1 kid moving and healthy. $50, 5 kids, $100. So it's all set up. You can go right now to give.phitamerica.org. You can also go to a brand, so I love this phrase. Kurt Camperman, if he was here, I'd give him credit because this was his phrase. Get a kid off the couch and on the court. We also have text to give. Everybody pull out your cell phone. You're not going to give, by the way. You can. Pull out your cell phone right now. I want you to see how easy this is. Pull out your cell phone. Type in to 50155. You see that up there? And type in tennis. And what pops up from there is, would you like to give? And it comes up to a page where you put in your amount. Actually, we've put it at $10, but you can adjust it. Charlie, where are you, Charlie Ruddy? Charlie did this at lunch. It took him 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and he gave us $100. Right there. It's so simple. So if you have events, you can do it this way. Go to the main give.phitamerica.org website overall. And again, that phrase really works. This is something that's coming down the road. And I want you to know this because, again, I'm not asking money just because I want money. It's about growing this industry, getting America moving overall. We have this. We're going to create some really good social media campaigns for everybody to use. So we got the kid moving. But for $10, I've arranged with these brands down here already. Greg's here. Wilson, I don't know if anybody's from Wilson. All these brands are going to send to all their customers or contacts. They will get coupons. Anybody that's donated $100 will get coupons from these companies where they can save a lot of money. So they give $10 to get a kid active, get them healthy, and they get bonus rewards from these companies overall. So that's going to start probably in about a month overall. So in summary, we're getting America moving, playing tennis. You got to get involved. You got to sign up. And I got 1 minute for questions. So what questions does anybody have for me? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a son who's the chief administrator in an elementary school. So how would it work politically for him? They have nothing there, as you correctly indicated. How would he do it?
The question is, what do you do with a school? How does he get involved? First of all, he fills out an application, which he can go through me on, to get a grant. It's got to be something that's embraced by the school. It's a full plan. In fact, your son, we don't want to ever send money straight down. We wait for a plan to come from there. Now, so it's as simple as filling out an application. We have to have enough money. We don't have a problem with enough schools. There's about 40,000 schools in need. But if he applies, has a good application, and says he wants to develop a program, we have programs, by the way, that go right into the classroom and get moving. You don't take any curricular time. If they say, I don't have any classroom time, we have another program that kids get moving before the school day. They run or walk, but we'll tie it in with a tennis program also, and an after-school tennis program as well. So it's a matter of just filling out an application and for a great request and raising more money so we can get more kids active. Other questions? John, how come I don't get questions?
They know what they gotta do.
In all seriousness, please challenge me, because if you don't believe this is on the right track, or we are not doing something right, or we could be doing things better, I want to hear it. Because I've been in this industry for 45 years. I'm sad by these numbers, but I know it can be turned around. I wouldn't do this unless I felt like this industry. You have a phenomenal sport. Yes, Greg.
You work with URSA and the PHIT bill at all, or other organizations?
The PHIT bill, do we work with URSA? What happens is the PHIT Act is a piece of legislation that is worked in conjunction with PHIT America's part of that, along with the SFIA, with URSA. There's about 15 different organizations all work together, so they lobby on Capitol Hill all together. We're all working together to get this passed.
What chances are to get it passed, you think?
Passes to get a chance. I think if you looked at just the pure essence of the bill, probably 90%, because it's prevention. We're not expanding the dollar, we're just expanding the classification. So you can use your dollars for physical activity rather than CVS or Walgreens. But the problem is Congress, as you know, doesn't do much at all. So, and it can't be a standalone bill, it's got to be combined with other legislation. You cut me off here.
Sorry.
Thank you very much for having me. And make it happen.